The parasha of the Shabbat is Parashat Bo. It talks about the last three plagues that the Egyptians were inflicted with before the exodus of the Jews from Egypt. This is in the Jewish history, and to a very, very large extent, world history is a seminal event. In fact, we will see next week in in a couple of weeks in Parashat Yitro, that is said, Ani Hashem Elohecha asher hotzaticha me'eretz Mitzrayim. He didn't say that I am God that created the world, that created you, that I took you out of Egypt. It's very important. However, before before the last plague, the Mekkat Bekorot, the killing of the firstborn Egyptian sons, Hashem gave us the first commandment to our nation as a nation. He gave us commandment to declare a new month, Chodesh Hazeh Lachem Rosh Chodashim, and he told us that the month of Nisan, that should be the first month of the year, that would be the counting point for other months. Of course, we have other later names of the Jewish of the Hebrew months, like Tishri, Heshvan, Kislev. These are not Babylonian. These are not Jewish names. They are Babylonian names. In fact, the Sefer Hanuf says that it is preferable not to call the secular months like July, August as the seventh or eighth month, and I know people that they call them, but they have to be called July and August to differentiate the secular months from the Hebrew months. So why it is that significant? We will see, because before they got out of Egypt, Hashem gave them control of the time. Chodesh Hazeh Lachem, this is yours. Because Abed, a slave, does not have control of his time. His boss can tell him, do this for me, you can work 7 days a week, you cannot work. Middle of the night, there is no, his time is, he doesn't own his time, he has no control of his time. Now the Jews do have control of their time. And we, according to the Jewish calendar, certain holidays fall on certain days of the month. Then the control of the hodidays is in the hand of the Jews. How so? In this parasha also, it established Torah Moshe Sinai that the declaration of new months is in the hands of the Sanhedrin, the highest religious Jewish court. And how it was done? It was done that they have to have witnesses that they saw a new moon. And the Sanhedrin, they will interview them to make sure that they are that they are correct witnesses. So they ask him, where did you see the moon? From which direction? How did it look like? What color it is? And if they found them to be correct, they say Mekudash HaChodesh, and they declare that this is Chodesh. Now, it is important to know that the Sanhedrin knew, how they interviewed the witnesses without being with them. How can they tell if they are right or no? They have calculation that on when the new moon will be born, and they know it to the split second. And so the interview is like a process. It's like protocol that they have to go to show that according to those ideams and according to the decision of the Jewish court, the Chodesh will be, the new month will be declared. So this is to show that the time now is in the hand of the free people. Now we do know that later on the Greeks during the Hashmonaim, they wanted to annihilate the process of Kiddush HaChodesh, because they know that if we don't have Chodesh, we don't have holidays. However, they thank God they did not succeed. But however, later on in time, specifically in the year 358 of the Common Era, Leil, who is a grandson of Yehuda Nasi, he found out that times are getting tough, that the exile is becoming more severe, and the Jewish nation does not have people who are capable of that they have smicha min Moshe Rabbeinu. Until that time, they might and the holidays might be lost. Him and his Beit Din Shelo and the court, they did calculation until the end of time, and surprisingly, that this calculation is so accurate, so magnificent, it is mind-blowing, that they knew to the split second, thousands years down the line, when the new moon will be born. And we cannot help but marvel at the wisdom that the rabbis have like the Torah says, Rak am hakam v'nabon hagoy gadol zeh, that such wise people, and the Torah will make us nebonim, ki hi chokhmatchem ubinatchem le'anei kol ha'amim, that it is your chokhmah and your intelligence in front of the people. The one cannot help but marvel at the ingenuity of the Jews from time memorial. When we see new moon, we can think of these two things: that the person is in control of his time to a large extent, and if somebody does have a high spiritual level, he will have more control on his time, because he does not waste his time on doing something frivolous. He knows what is important, and this is really the control of the time. And also, we cannot help but admire the wisdom that the Rabbanim, that our Hachamim had from that is proving every day passes. We can see how great they are, knowing that science and satellite will attest to their great wisdom. Now, the other thing is that so now the Jewish calendar is established on two aspects: on the sun and on the moon. The moon is because we see every month will depend on the moon, and however because every lunar month consists of 29 days and 12 hours and 4 minutes and 3.3 seconds. They indeed establish that to the split second, like they say. So that means that every lunar year, if you multiply these numbers, 29 days and a half and 4 minutes and 3.3 seconds, it will come to 354 and change a few hours days. And Shana, this is a gematria of 355, meaning that it is 354 days and change. That's why probably it is called Shana. So that means that every year will be shorter than the solar year by 11 days. 10 and change, because the solar year is 365 and plus 6 hours and a few minutes. So that means that we have also mitzvah shmor et chodesh aviv, that the Pesach should be in the spring. So that means that every so often we have to add a leap year. And we have, in the rabbi calculated that in a cycle of 19 years, there will be leap year on the 3, 6, 8, 11, 14, and 16, and 17 years. So 7 years out of the 19, they are considered leap years. We add another month, and that month is Adar, and specifically Adar Rishon. So the original month is Adar Sheni in the leap year, not Adar Rishon. So, for example, if somebody read Megillah on the 14th of Adar Rishon, it's no ole. He didn't say anything. And also, at the same token, if somebody is born in Adar and there is leap year, he celebrates his bar mitzvah. He will become bar mitzvah in Adar Sheni, not Adar Rishon. So with that, we can also marvel on the ingenuity of the Beit Din. However, now there is another thing that we can learn from the months, from the moon, how it becomes bigger and smaller. That when it becomes smaller, we can see that the time is fleeing. Like, for example, now we had the month of Tevet that passed. We see that the moon was shrinking and shrinking until we had Rosh Chodesh Shvat in last Wednesday. That will give the person opportunity to ponder on what I am doing with my time. We say ki natah hayom ki panah hayom ki natusad le'arev, that the time is passing by, that the days are going, that the month is coming, what I'm doing with my life, and that for those who are attentive to what they are doing and to their life and to the importance of the time, that will give us opportunity to reflect on if what we are doing with the most valuable gift that Hashem gave us, which is a gift of time on this earth. This is a time, like the Gaon Mevina say, how magnificent is Olam Hazeh, because without Olam Hazeh we can't go to Olam Haba. This is the essence of going to Olam Haba. And now, there is another concept of the Chodesh, that Chodesh is the same word as Hadash, renewal. And the Jews are imitated to the moon, that we have renewal. And at a time when the history becomes dark and very difficult, Hashem will send us Teshua, just like the moon will be born again. It will be visible again, and it will give us always tikvah. This is really what kept us. Hashem, of course, gave us guarantee that we will never be annihilated, but this is also a reminder of the berit, of the covenant that Hashem gave us, that we are Am al-Netzach, that we are the eternal people. And also another reason why we are imitated to the moon, because the moon, when the moon rise, is not always at the same time. In fact, every day the moon rises about between 35 to 50 minutes later than the previous day. And also the location of the moonrise is not the same as all the time. Like the sun also, it rises not exactly the same, but very, very similar. The changes is minimal, unlike the moon, that the changes are more drastic. Also, this is a lesson that when Hashem will send us Teshua, we don't know really from where, and we don't know how, because Wuchat Hashem Eref Ayin, and every dark area, like we had the Holocaust, but a couple of years later we had the state of Israel, Reshit Geulatenu. We had the Inquisition and the expulsion from Spain. At the same year, America was discovered, that proved to be haven to many Jews from all over the world. Hashem knows that you know, before we get inflicted, there is refuah, there is the salvation is already there. So we can see that we can learn so many things from the moon. When we look at it, it will give us hints to the value of time, to have always spirit and hope that better days will come, that we are in control of time. And always we should always remember about the ingenuity of our people that is inspired by the Torah. And last but not least, at least in the Arabic poetry, they say that if they describe a beautiful woman, they say that it is her face is as beautiful as the moon. And indeed, beautiful moon the moon inspires serenity, it's just beautiful. So we do hope that we are looking for a time when the time that we looking forward to a time of the final Geullah, the ultimate Geullah, when the light of the moon will be as bright as the sun, and the light of the sun will be as great as 7 times as great as it is today. We cannot wait for this time to come. Shabbat Shalom.